So Joe Rogan had Matt Walsh on his podcast recently, and they were talking about transgenderism, and we are going to sit and watch what they had to say. And before I play this clip, I have watched it. Fair warning, Matt Walsh and Joe Rogan are going to say some things that I would consider very offensive. So fair warning before you continue to watch.
And the other thing to keep in mind too is that yeah, there are men who are just gaming the system, as you point out. I think in prison that happens a lot because they'd rather be in a women's prison than a men's prison. But also in
Something that, and this is just a quick side note, something that Matt Walsh and a lot of conservatives do is they will nitpick these they'll pick out these small exceptions in that exist in something, and they'll point to them and say, well, look at what happened here with this specific case. That is one and if not an only reason that we should not do something, because this one thing happened, so that makes it bad forever.
general, like there are different categories of people who transition, and we kind of talk about them like they're all the same, but they're not. And you can kind of break it down by age. Like there's the very young.
I mean, they kind of really don't, though. I mean, people don't really talk like that. Matt Walsh talks like that. That's how the conservatives talk about it. That's how he's talking about it. I would argue the majority of people don't talk about them like that. He's also creating this, like, he's acting like they're like a different species of human. Like, yeah, can we talk about them? Can we, like, it's so weird the way he chooses to conversate about this. Now the video doesn't want to load.
Like there's the very young children, a 5-year-old, and we hear that, oh, my 5-year-old is trans. That's 1,000% the parent just deciding they're going to do that to the child, because no child even knows what that is. So you have to suggest that to them. Then you have the adolescent girls, and Abigail Schreier's written about this in her great book.
Okay. So again, sorry, I have to keep pausing it here because this isn't what I want to focus on. But Abigail Schreier, the author that he is referencing, is very extreme. She's very anti-trans, and if you have ever had the displeasure of having to read anything that Abigail Schreier has ever written, I do sincerely apologize. Because she is batshit crazy.
And that's the social contagion. They pick it up from society. But then there's the older men who are adults and decide one day that they're women. And for so many of them, this is a fetish. I mean, this is like the...
So that was the very offensive thing that I said that Matt Walsh was going to say. He just said that older people that are trans, it's a fetish for them, and that's all it is.
The thing we're not allowed to say or acknowledge, but it's totally true, that for most of these older men who decide that I'm a woman, it's a fetish. It's autogynephilia. They're
and then Joe Rogan agrees with him. Totally not transphobic Joe Rogan agrees with what Matt said.
Enchanted by the idea of themselves as women, and so now we have to participate in your fetish. Like
the amount of uneducated things that come out of Matt Walsh's mouth are almost amazing to me, because he has his own show on the Daily Wire, and everything he just said is completely fucking bonkers.
You get off on the idea of being seen as a woman, and I have to be a participant in that. It's really degrading.
It's so weird
to all of us
that he's saying
that we're all being forced into this.
Well, it's always been a psychological condition. It's always been known as being like a psychiatric condition, like it's a mental health issue.
Right.
And now it's being accepted as a gender identity issue, where it was always just like a weird kink that people...
And Joe Rogan also makes an interesting point here where he says that it's being accepted as a gender identity issue when they are literally sitting here not accepting these issues. So again, it's like Majority Report said, Joe Rogan and Matt Walsh have an idiot contest. That's literally what they're doing here. It's crazy.
People had. And now you're again, regardless of whether or not this person's a sex offender, registered sex offender, repeated sex offender, you have to accept this. Otherwise, you're a bigot. It's just this rigid adherence to ideology is so cult-like. It's so fucking Handmaid's Tale. It's so wild that people are just wholesale adopting this. And this is not to deny that there's people that are trans. I've met people that are trans. It exists in nature. I mean, occasionally guys will shoot a buck and they'll
makes
find
this
out
weird
it's actually
hunting
a female
analogy.
with antlers. Nature's weird.
I
right?
don't know how him saying that sometimes he said sometimes men shoot a buck and then it turns out to be a female deer. I don't know how that equates to anything they're talking about with transgenders. He just randomly said that. I don't know what he was going for with that. I don't think it came out like how he wanted it to, but transgenderism is it's just like hunting.
I think
they're one and the
nature
same.
Does put people, make humans for whatever reason that really feel like they should have been born a female or should have been born a male. But that's not all of what's happening. And in our desire to be compassionate and to have care for these people and to love these people and respect these people, we're opening the door to all this chaos.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you highlight so well in this film.
And they don't talk about what this chaos is or what is actually happening. They just walk around on these eggshells. They do this weird dog whistle-y shit that I think is just really them being too scared to really say what position they want to take on it. And they are scared because they know that, a lot of the stuff that they believe is hateful, and more than likely it's not true.
It's so strange to me how so many people on the left, people that before this, I generally respected their opinion, just buy into it wholesale and will spout out things as if they're facts about how much this helps people and keeps people from killing themselves. And
when it does, Joe.
And helps kids. But it's not true.
It is true.
Yeah, it's not true. And the suicide stuff is it's just so sinister because this is the emotional blackmail that they tell parents that your daughter identifies as your son now, and then the classic line is, would you rather have a dead daughter or a living son?
Yeah, that's the classic line. Every parent gets told it. Every single parent gets told. It's the classic line, guys.
Or your daughter's going to kill himself. And so many parents, especially, you go back a couple of years when this conversation wasn't being had on a.
Okay, so I have to make a point here. So they said that it doesn't stop people from killing themselves. It's the opposite. Or Matt Walsh is going to go on to say that it's the opposite, and this isn't true. This is literally the opposite. A study that was published in JAMA Surgery, or JAMA, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a peer-reviewed medical journal. It's been around since 1920. They did a study that came out last year, and it said that people who do receive gender-affirming surgery are significantly less likely to experience psychological distress or suicidal ideation. And this goes along directly with a study that the American Academy of Pediatrics did, where they found that adolescent suicide behavior or suicidality amongst adolescents attempting to make that transition do suffer from suicidal thoughts, mental illnesses, and it's the gender-affirming surgery that these people have that literally makes these thoughts, it makes them go away. So it does help them. It literally does help them. Joe and Matt are 100% wrong on this. 100% wrong. And Joe and Matt are two people, they like to say, do the research. We've done the research. The research that they don't even have any research. They're just literally pulling facts out of their ass.
At a very visible level, they don't know what to do. They're panicked, and they've just been told by a mental health provider who they trust that if they don't go along with their child's delusion, that their child's going to commit suicide. So I can understand when you're told that you're going to kind of panic, but it's not true. The evidence, in fact, tells us the opposite, that suicidality, we cover this in the film, Scott Nugent mentions it, that the only reliable long-term study we have on this shows that suicidality is the highest years after transition.
This isn't true. I don't know what study he's referencing. I tried to find it. I really did. I searched for it. I didn't go behind any paywalls, but this it does. I don't know what he's talking about here, because these studies show the exact opposite of this. So I don't know what he's talking about. He's literally 100% wrong. He doesn't mention the study. Doesn't mention any people that worked on the study. He just mentioned somebody from his documentary, because his entire appearance on Joe Rogan is just an ad for his movie. They don't bring up any facts. They don't bring up anything of relevance. They don't say anything of truth. They just sit here and spew this misinformation garbage that is literally so easily disproved. It's so easily disproved. It's crazy to me that Joe Rogan has this big a platform, and he is allowing people and also agreeing with people that say brainless, stupid shit like this.
It's the highest point for suicidality among trans people.
Literally the opposite. It's literally the opposite.
Problem too is that there are a couple of maybe reliable long-term studies, but there aren't that many, because we haven't done this to people on this
I don't know what's going on with the
scale
video
ever before in human history. So the current crop of especially trans, quote unquote, trans kids, they're the guinea pigs. We're experimenting on them, and they're making a lot of the healthcare providers are making a lot of promises about how this is going to turn out, when they can't possibly know this because we've never done it before.
Well, that
I'm not gonna watch any more of it. We're gonna end it there, but I think it's more than disgusting for Matt Walsh to sit there and say that young adolescents that feel like they need transition, receive some type of gender affirming treatment or something, that it calls them guinea pigs. In a sense, that's not in a sense. That's literally what he said. He calls them guinea pigs for this thing, and it's like my question to what Matt said, and maybe he'll see this and maybe he'll answer my question, maybe he won't. Matt, guinea pigs for who? Guinea pigs for what? Who? What? What are these people guinea pigs for? You need something like how he's talking about a guinea pig for if you're trying to test something or figure something out. What are we testing here? What are we doing? Can you answer that question, Matt? Because I personally don't think he has an answer for that. And it's like I said, I think it's disgusting that he said something like that. Almost everything that comes out of Matt Walsh's mouth is pretty, bigoted, in my opinion. And then he wants to sit there and say, it's not, when he's literally, and then he also lies. He's lying. He's saying that there's studies that show the direct opposite of what the scientific studies on gender affirming surgery and treatment actually show. So, again, it really just all comes down to, what these people believe and then what you believe. And Matt, in another clip that I'm not going to sit here and show you and I'm not going to watch, on another clip that Matt was on the Joe Rogan podcast, he actually says that he was talking to someone in his documentary, his movie, and they said that their existence or their reality is like what they perceive, I guess is what he was trying to say, they said, because I don't know what clip he was talking about, because I haven't seen his fucking movie. And he was saying that the person said that if Matt thinks that this person does not exist, then she doesn't exist, and he said that that's what she was willing to do in order for Matt to be comfortable in his space. And it's like Matt and a bunch of these conservatives, and Joe Rogan does it too, they purposefully, it's like I said, they nitpick, they take certain things, they say certain things, and they just use whatever they can to try and shape whatever narrative they want you to believe. It doesn't matter what reality is. It matters what they want you to believe. It's all selective. It's all just it's so tedious. And I just it bothers me a lot, especially when, like I said, when Joe Rogan has such a large platform, reaches so many people, and he allows stuff like this.